Welcome to Stars and Glitterballs with Jess and Lindsay.
This episode is about live screenings, specifically live screenings in cinemas. Now, I
Yes.
feel like this is a fairly new kind of phenomenon to theatres, like
Yeah.
to like the theatre world, because I feel like it just wasn't really a thing like maybe 10 years ago that you could go to a cinema and see a theatre show. It just seems weird. They seem like they're completely kind of competing industries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but no, it's a very ludicrous kind of business now, and there's a lot of it's worth a lot of money, and even like the smaller theaters are benefiting from showing these screenings. Usually they're by like bigger organizations like usually National Theatre and Royal Shakespeare Company, and
Yeah.
they're getting at the end of the day they're getting the income from it because people are coming into the cinema and using the cinema's facilities like the bar and things like that.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely taken off a bit more this year as well, with everything going on and the theatres being closed. Kind of more people have been able to see that it is a thing. Because I
Yeah,
feel like there's probably a lot of people out there who kind of didn't realise that
it was
there were these
yeah that it was
recordings.
even possible.
Yeah.
And I personally think it's a great way to make theatre more accessible because a lot of people, for instance, if they live if they live in like a rural area or just an area that's not very well served by a theatre, they can't afford you know tickets or they can't afford because usually these screenings are like significantly cheaper. Um,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
even just transport, like getting to their nearest theatre, might be a difficulty. So,
Yeah.
in
And
the
especially even if like that show that you want to see is in a different country,
oh
I
yeah,
mean that's
yeah,
even
because it's
more.
often beams around the world, isn't it? Sometimes, like some of the bigger ones,
Yeah,
which is just insane, like so many countries and stuff.
yeah.
Um, so I've actually been to a screening. um, I went to a ballet of The Winter's Tale, a Shakespeare play, bit of a lesser known Shakespeare play. And I saw it in Cambridge. Only problem is I didn't know it was a screening before I went. The thing is, the way they said it to me, people that were like leading my course, they just said that we were going to see a theatre show, and I just didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it would be. I mean, I don't know what Cambridge is like in terms of their theatres. I gotta be honest. But yeah, so we turned up, and I thought, this looks very cinema-ish. And then yeah, we sat down, and it was made quite clear to me that there was a big, screen whiteboard, like a
What a shock.
yeah. So that was a bit disappointing. But no, when it actually started, it was interesting because it had like an interval, like when there'd be an interval because it's screen live,
Oh,
obviously.
really?
Yeah, because it was live. So when there was an interval with the actual like theatre, there'd be an interval at the cinema as well.
Oh, right.
Um, and the camera was very focused and like zoomed in on facial expressions, which is actually a good thing because often where you sit in the theatre, you don't see that.
Yeah.
Um, and overall, it was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I think my question that I've always wondered is, do people clap?
Yeah, so in my case, they did at the end. There was like a brief kind of applause.
Mm.
But like where the audience were laughing and stuff, the cinema was kind of silent. Yeah,
Oh,
like I don't think they were quite getting the same immersion in that way.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and also, I think like what separates film from theatre is when you're watching something on a screen, you're kind of like a passive recipient, you know? You're just taking it in. Whereas when you're at the theatre, you're just so much more involved. A
Yeah.
film is always the same, you always see the same film. But theatre, something could happen that'll never be repeated in the same
Yeah.
show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially
It's
with
just an
panto.
amazing atmosphere. Yeah, Panto especially.
Yeah. Like with panto, you're so involved. Um,
Yeah.
so But I do think one of the issues with live screenings is that people are always going to choose it over the theatre because it purely because it is cheaper. If you like, so if someone lived in an area where there was a theatre, but there was also a cinema close by showing the screening, rather
Yeah,
than waiting for it to come on tour and choosing the theatre option, they're likely to just do the cinema because it's cheaper. So that does kind of take business away from the theatres. But on the other hand, it could kind of inspire them to actually book the tour date in a way
yeah, yeah.
because they
I
could
mean, for me,
see it and see, oh, I
like,
want to see more of this.
yeah, like for me, if I want to see a show and there was going to be a screening, I'd probably rather not see that and just watch it live. But I guess it depends how much into theatre you are.
Yeah, yeah, because it depends. Because if you are kind of not really a theatre person, then the cinema, seeing it in the cinema might just appeal more to you anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, like Hamilton's kind of the closest I've seen to
a
a
screening, yeah,
screening, and I mean, obviously that's just like in my own home, but like that's just made me want to go and watch it live, like so much more than before.
yeah, I'm the exact same, yeah. And obviously from this, and a good thing from this though is that the people that are showing the screenings, so like National Theatre and like Royal Shakespeare Company, Opera House, the big companies like that, they do obviously get income from this. The
Yeah,
actors get extra payments because it's being shown on a screening, so it's good news, kind of for both industries really. Um,
yeah,
like I said before, you get close-ups, you get clearer sound, arguably, because with the theatre it does kind of depend where you're sat.
yeah.
Whereas in a cinema it's kind of just the speakers are all around. Um, the camera
I think,
obviously doesn't let you wander either. Doesn't let your eyes wander. Um,
yeah,
Usually, like when I'm watching a show, my focus is all over the place.
yeah, yeah. You kind of don't get that choice with a screening.
No, my eyes are in the background watching like the transitions or watching like what the kind of the extras are doing that you're not really meant to look at, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, just kind of there.
Yeah,
And then, like, the more times you go to see it, like, the more things you see in the background. It's like, oh my god, I've never noticed that. But you won't be able to do that with a screening.
yeah,
But then there are more things that are good about a screening in that, like, if it's the original cast that has been filmed, you're getting the opportunity to see the original cast, whereas you might not have done before. Like, if you kind of didn't know about the show when it came out or something.
yeah. So that's like always immortalized in a way, like with the Hamilton screening, well, not really screening, but like with the Hamilton thing, it
Yeah,
is it's that cast has always been like forever preserved now,
yeah, yeah, it'll just be there forever.
which
And
is
then,
such a good thing.
yeah, and then also shows that have currently closed can still be seen for years to come, like Kinky Boots, that is
Yeah,
sadly gone for now. Hopefully not for very long. Um, but there's like a screening of that was in the cinema. Was it this year?
yeah,
I
I
feel
think
like it was
so.
Feb.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, and then
yeah,
there's also the Broadway. Is it Broadway HD subscription? I think it's called.
yeah.
Um, that has got like loads of shows on. I know Kinky Boots is on there and quite a few others.
And that's Broadway HD is, if you don't know, is a streaming service, isn't it? And it just they put
Yeah,
on all of the Broadway shows that they've recorded, and they're really like high quality recordings and stuff. And
yeah,
yeah, you pay a subscription service to watch them, and they've recently expanded their library because it was kind of limited before. I'm not
yeah,
sure. I'm not sure if it was really worth the price they were charging, but there is a lot more on there now.
yeah. I think I'd kind of looked at it. I haven't done it, but I've kind of thought I could maybe do it for like a month or
Yeah,
so.
do you know
Um,
if they're offering a free trial at all?
um, I feel like it was like a week.
Oh,
I
I
could be
see.
totally making that
Yeah,
up,
there might be.
but
We don't want to miss out anything, but there might well be a free trial.
Yeah, I feel like it was a week.
Yeah.
But some of the new ones that are on there's Billy Elliot, Les Mis, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Miss Saigon, Cats,
Yeah, they've had a
Jesus
lot.
Christ Superstar, Phantom of the Opera, Love Never Dies. So, I mean, that's a lot of big ones that are now
That's
on
all the
there.
big ones, yeah, I would say. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot more than when I last looked, put it that way. So that, yeah, they've definitely increased their
yeah,
library. But yeah, I think with screenings in general, like I say, the camera angles are really fixed, but then it also means that you can get kind of shots that you would never see, like overhead
yeah,
shots, and like from behind as well, and just things like
yeah,
that. It's just kind of an alternative. The way I look at it is it's like an alternative way of showing theatre, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. It's definitely something that I think is a good thing out there. So it just gets more people interested without actually being theatre.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely, and like they just put it. You could put it on in like a village hall, like little communities, and like communities that wouldn't usually get a live show are kind of brought together in that way.
Yeah, and even like now, like I think it was Mayflower in Southampton that I was looking at, and they're kind of doing screenings sort of in the theatre, but socially
Yes.
distanced. So because they can't open, like it's not financially viable to open at the minute as a theatre, it's a lot better for them to put on a screening. So they're kind of opening up so people can still go to the theatre and kind of, I guess it must be even more of a theatre experience watching a screening in a theatre.
Yeah, I reckon that's quite kind of Inception, quite weird. Like,
Yeah, yeah, like it should be live, but it's not.
but yeah, that's definitely a new trend that we've seen during the lockdown is theaters
Yeah,
screening stuff, which is like you say, very very ironic.
yeah,
And yeah, I guess there's something quite intimate about watching a theatre show in a theatre, but just not being there in front of you. But it just feels, I think, just being in the theatre feels better, doesn't it?
oh yeah, definitely. It's just such
But
an
yeah,
amazing
definitely a great
experience.
idea for theatres, to kind of keep the money going, because they can socially distance the seats
Yeah,
and everything like that.
yeah,
Um,
it's a lot easier. There's kind of not a more expenditure than they would have with a proper live performance.
yeah, and again, they'll get bar sales and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And it also means because it's a screening, they can do like multiple days and multiple runs of it. Whereas, as we discussed before,
yeah,
the limitations of a live performance is that they can only do
it's people.
they're humans. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can only do so many in a day. I think the record I've seen is the fact that 6 manage 3 shows in a
yeah,
day. Don't know,
yeah.
which is like I've
I
never
think,
seen any more than that. But
yeah, I think not a theatre as such, but I feel like was it Disney on Ice or something that I went to see at the arena, and they was doing 3 shows a day, like morning, afternoon, and like evening.
yeah,
Which
it's crazy.
I was kind of like quite shocked, but
But yeah, I think really, if you're trying to like adhere to basic human rights, it would be 3 shows a day max.
yeah,
But
and
with
obviously 6 is a shorter show
yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
so I don't know how that would work with a full length show,
no, definitely
especially
not.
something of like Hamilton's
Christ,
length.
yeah, Hamilton like over 2. Well, it's pushing 3 hours, isn't it?
Yeah,
By the time you've had the interval and everything.
yes,
So yeah, so I think it's great because you can rerun it and make more money each time
yeah,
in that way. So well, yeah, I don't know why more theatres haven't done that actually. Um,
yeah.
I
It
guess
seems
I guess
a good idea.
they'd have to get rights to show certain recordings and things like that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think it'd definitely be worth it.
But yeah, in conclusion, really, I think it's a good thing, and doing the research for this episode made me realise, because I was kind of like not against it, but I wasn't that big on it. But doing this has really made me realise that actually it's really helpful to our industry
Yeah, yeah,
more than I thought.
I think it's just a good idea, really. Like, I think for me, seeing Hamilton, it kind of made me think more about it as well. Because before I was a bit like, oh, what's the point? Like, why not just go see it live? But like, just now when you're not able to go and see stuff live,
Yeah,
and being able to see something that you would see live, I feel like I'm just like waffling here,
no,
but
I know what you're
you know what I
saying.
mean?
You would definitely you take for granted seeing stuff live, and now that it's taken away,
Yeah, you kind
everything
of appreciate
becomes,
them more.
yeah, so much more valuable. And there has been, such an increase in theatre being streamed. Well,
Yeah,
you had Andrew Lloyd Webber doing it every week. You had National Theatre doing it every week.
yeah,
Royal Shakespeare Company were posting their shows now and again. Uh, even if you were into operas, you had the Royal Opera House. You had Royal Ballet doing it as well. They posted
yeah,
their ballets, full length ballets. I mean, there was just such a. I mean, it got to the stage where What's on Stage had a list. It had a list
yeah,
of stuff you could watch. It was like a whole just kind of revolution. It was mad.
yeah. There was just so many just doing it. I
Yeah,
mean, I think that was something that kind of for me, I feel like a lot of them missed out on, in that if they'd have put, I mean, some of them might have done, but if they'd have put like a donate page with them, they could have probably got quite a bit of money.
yeah. So this was on some of them. This was the case. So like often on YouTube they had a donate thing, but it was more for like it was like an actors fund rather than for the theatre. It was kind of like for the individuals, if
Yeah,
that makes sense. But yeah, some of them, and actually some of them did raise a lot of money through doing it. Like the Andrew Lloyd Webber one raised like
yeah. I guess that would have had the adverts on YouTube, wouldn't it?
yeah, it had adverts. I think pretty much. But yeah, you were encouraged to kind of make a donation before watching it and that kind of
Yeah,
thing. So yeah,
yeah,
I think it's been definitely brought to light recently, and I think it'll just continue to grow. There'll just continue to be more and more screenings. Because at the moment, I still just think it is kind of limited to the big companies, but I think sure enough, they'll all start like recording them and stuff. I think now with what's happened, more and more shows are going to be recorded because what if it's
yeah,
ever to happen again? At least we have something, you know.
yeah. And they're able to kind of make money through them in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, because obviously no one was prepared for what happens, but now everyone's like
No,
hyper aware almost.
yeah, definitely.
So at least
Yeah, I don't think people
rest
when
assured that this time, it would be different.
yeah, yeah, I don't think anyone imagined that when they closed all them months ago that they'd still be closed
Well,
now.
yeah, and some are staying, closed beyond Christmas, aren't they?
Yeah, I feel like there's quite a lot now that are saying like January, aren't there? That
Yeah. So moving on to like closures, kind of. Um, we've got news about ATG, haven't we?
yes, we do. So ATG, they've announced that they're cancelling all of their shows up to the 18th of October, which don't really seem that far away, really.
No. So that's been
But
moved forward again, hasn't it? Because they kind of reassess it every few months. I feel like.
yeah, I feel like they're just sort of pushing it back month by month, aren't they?
Yeah, because
Which makes sense, because if you do it too far and then socially
yeah, if you
distancing
if you
goes, then
commit to a date, it's kind of awkward then, isn't it? If you're like, well, actually, we want to open.
yeah,
So yeah, that affects a wide range of venues because they do own quite a few theatres in this country.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's a big one.
in Strictly News, they've announced a Christmas countdown, which is very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of worry going on with that kind of over. There was a lot of talk, wasn't there, about how there wouldn't be a Christmas special because
Yeah, people weren't sure.
just for one episode they won't be able to like isolate and everything. So, but I was a bit like, surely there can't be nothing, but there is
Yeah,
not.
so there's a Christmas countdown. Um, and there's something interesting. This is what you found, wasn't it? That on the BBC show's website, they are still kind of advertising about the audience, aren't they? They just haven't got
Yeah,
a ballot open yet or anything.
yeah, they're kind of saying that there isn't, they're not accepting new people to kind of subscribe to be in the audience, and they're not actually opening it yet, but they are hoping that there will be an audience of some sort. So that's definitely interesting. After like all of the kind of everywhere in the media, they're basically saying that there is going to be no audience. To then discover that, I was like, oh,
Yeah, so fingers crossed that there will be some sort of atmosphere. That's all I hope for.
yeah. I guess we don't know if it'll be from the very start or
No, or if it'll
if,
be a gradual thing, which probably makes more sense.
yeah, I would kind of expect the audience to increase as it goes on,
Yeah, that's what I'm
hopefully.
thinking. Yeah, and also, the pros have reportedly, well, from the press pictures, we can see that they have started isolating at a hotel, and this will be where they pre-record all of the group dances
Yes.
so that
Yeah.
they can still happen. Because there's a big part of the show, the group dances, and the pros were obviously a huge part of the show too. And
Yeah.
they're all sorts of themes and stuff, and there's usually one, and there's usually one in the results show, isn't there? And there's sometimes one at the start of the main show if it's a special week.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd seen somewhere, I don't know how official it is, that there wouldn't be like themed group dances,
Ah,
which will
right.
be quite sad.
Yeah,
But
that is sad.
I
I
don't know if
guess
that's official.
there's a lot of props and a lot of kind of it's just awkward, isn't it, with the
Yeah, a
situation?
lot more work going into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So
But we'll see.
that's our news for today. Quite a
Yeah.
quiet news day for once. I feel
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
it's been not a
not that
lot
I'm
going on.
complaining. Exactly. There's been a lot these last few months, and we
There
actually
has.
haven't got any six news for you this time.
No.
Anyway, moving on to song of the week.
Yes. So I this week I decided to go for Kinky Boots, Raise You Up / Just Be. So the very final song
Yes.
that I just love that song.
See, I remember
It's just like,
that one very well because that was the one where kind of everyone got to their feet and
yeah,
it was just brilliant. Yeah, great
yeah,
atmosphere, and that was a matinee as well. Like I'm not saying no offense to matinees, but usually the evening atmosphere is kind of better. But this was
yeah. The
like,
matinees are a lot more chill, aren't
but
they?
now this was like, it was electric in there.
Yeah, I mean, I was there last year for the last night of the tour, and it was just absolutely insane. I mean, people was like cheering and standing up all the way through the show, and just yeah, that final song, like everyone was just like getting involved, and the cast was just like loving life, and it
Yeah,
was just like it was
it's
quite
just
like
magical.
emotional
Yeah,
to
yeah.
yeah, it was just like amazing. And then obviously they did the kind of the little speeches at the end, and
Oh,
it was just like, oh. And then to go and do stage door afterwards was even more amazing.
it makes me want to do a closing night. That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely do one again. I mean, I kind of, it wasn't planned, but
Yeah,
I just,
but then
yeah.
spontaneous trips are the best, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, the fact that I only discovered Kinky Boots a week before the tour closed
Yeah,
was
brilliant.
disappointing.
But there is the film to watch. There is a film. Granted, it's
Yes.
not the musical version, but I watched the film and it's a very nicely done film in general.
Yes, I do need to watch that.
Yes. So, next episode, we are going to be talking about the Strictly Results show, and kind of there's just a big discussion about it in general, like there always has been for many years. And we're just going to talk about everything, from the fact that the spoiler gets leaked to the fact that it's not live, all that kind of thing. Obviously, I've been lucky enough to go to Strictly, so I can give a kind of personal insight into that as well.
Yes, definitely. Exciting.
And that's all.
Time for the curtain call.